Hi, Health Promotion. Dr. Kim Paxton here. This week we're going to be talking about health education and on the concepts that integrate into health education. As you've learned from last week and the readings that you're beginning to engage in this week, health education is so much more than telling somebody what to do and how to do it. There's a huge integration that needs to occur in relationship to the abilities of the person and all of the environmental factors, including culture and diverse components of who they are as individuals that come into play with respect to education. So let's move forward and find out what we're doing this week. Your objectives this week are to look at the materials involved with health education, those that we have in our readings, we have some videos, and we have some websites for you to take a look at. Look at these for what they really bring to the arena of health education with respect to your client, behavior change, and improvement in health care. We're going to have you really look at literacy this week and understand how it interplays into your client's ability to be able to translate what you tell them or provide them actually into behaviors of change. And then we're going to have you start looking and really understanding more strongly how behavioral models such as the trans-theoretical model or the health behavior model that you guys wrote of this last week actually work in the learning process and how do they integrate in and help you understand how to help your patient guided by the model. Your readings this week are coming out of Chapter 10, which is your health education chapter. In this chapter, there's a lot of information. Some of the information you were introduced to last week in relationship to the health behavior models that you were talking about in your discussions. In Chapter 10, it talks about the different types of education that are involved in health. And specifically on page 217, please take a look at that box that talks about strategies to promote health literacy. Health literacy is one of the aspects that we have to take into consideration as healthcare providers as we are working to help change a behavior or to improve a health standard of one of our patients. What we may believe is appropriate for them may not. So it's really important to take your cues from your patient, especially if non-compliance is occurring, and learn why that non-compliance could be occurring. Is it because the way you spoke or the words you chose to use are words that your patient is not able to understand because they're too high-end or they're too medically driven? Just an aspect to take into consideration as you are working with your patients and providing them with verbal educational experiences. Within this chapter, you're also going to find, as I stated, the models that you had reviewed last week in your readings. But you're also going to be hearing more from this chapter in relationship to what goes into actually a teaching plan that you would possibly write out or mentally develop for your patients. On page 223, there are 3 domains of learning. There's the cognitive, the psychomotor, and the affective domain. Get an understanding of these because they interplay in to the actual educational process, and your client may not be able to do all 3 of them, but maybe you'll be able to address one of them and reach your patient. So take a look at that, get an understanding, and see how you can actually use them in your development of educational plans for your patients. Health literacy is a big issue here. We've got quite a few readings for you here in relationship to that. It's important for you to get an understanding of that because you can't change what you're practicing if you don't understand what you need to change to be able to meet a client's needs. This week also you're going to be reviewing a couple of the websites. We have a few listed here, but you may find that there's others out there that you find would be appropriate to review and to present to your groups in your small group discussions. The ones that we have listed are talking more about health literacy. The Healthy People 2020, of course, is reviewing for you what the United States is saying that we should be doing to help people get healthy by the year 2020. There's a short video clip here. It's more to give you a perspective more from a humorous side of what literacy not getting might look like. This week your learning activities are to review the different websites, post to your groups about health literacy and how it can interplay in with relationship to health promotion, and we talk about it being a game changer. So when you look at it being a game changer, you can look at it from the positive, your patient's able to make those behavioral changes, or look at it from a negative, that if we don't do it correctly, it could actually impede your patient being able to make those behavioral changes. We're also going to have you post as part of your discussion what your beliefs are, what you're taking away from one of the websites. Now we have 3 of them listed up here, plus one on the bottom, which is the health literacy video. But as I said, you could go out, look at a different type of health behavior or health promotional website. Make sure you post that URL link if you're going to a different website that's not listed here on this page. Post that URL so that other individuals could go to that and see what you're seeing and get that same takeaway from it. We're hoping that this week you're able to start seeing a little bit more dynamics to health promotion, and that you can see it from the nurse practitioner perspective, that we have to integrate into it not just theory, but we actually have to integrate into it educational principles of development that support the learning process for our patients. Have a great week.